Hey, Scott Sterling, aka Drumspyder, welcome so much to Voices of Elevate. I know this isn't something you do very often, so I'm just so honored that you said yes to coming on and having a chat with me. Um, yeah, so you are a music producer and also
Yes.
artist. I've just been
Yep.
checking out your art on Instagram, and it's all the Celtic pagan vibes, isn't it? Your music and your artwork. So where does all this stem from? How long have you been in the kind of pagan Celtic vibe?
Well, I've been a committed pagan for the last 12 years, and I think when I made that switch of spiritual orientation, I knew that I had to transition my music and art in that direction. And so at the time, several years ago, I was doing Arabic fusion and belly dance music, and I was kind of in that sort of Arabic and Indian fusion world. And my art was, I was doing acrylic paintings and just kind of experimenting with various styles and learning about various design styles. But I think starting in that period of, 10 to 12 years ago, I just decided to make a study of Celtic music and music from the British Isles. Medieval and Renaissance are a couple of my favorite periods of
Mm,
music, and also studying the Celtic design styles. And so I started, as a lot of people do, with like the classic book by George Bain, um, Celtic Art, Methods of Construction, and the books by Aidan Meehan. So I basically just learned to do it methodically or fairly methodically from books and just looking at the classic pieces like the Book of Kells and the Lindisfarne Gospels. So I've been doing that for, quite a few years now.
yeah, no, so I just it's like you're fully embodying that kind of vibe, that kind of era. But I do a lot of homeschooling with my children,
Mhm.
and they love that kind of medieval time that you just mentioned. And so sometimes when I'm listening to your music, it almost takes me back to almost feels like I've been transported to a past life or a genetic memory or something. It kind of activates that, and then I find myself dancing in that way.
Yeah, it
Some of
does
it
for
almost
me.
sounds quite sort of like Irish dancing, and I'll find myself
Yeah.
kind of dancing like that on the, it really does, your music really does embody that in the listener as well.
Yes, I've loved medieval music and Renaissance music for most of my life, like before I got into Celtic stuff or before I started becoming a producer. And I've always had that sense of connection to past times and like a little bit of sense of maybe I've described it sometimes as the blurring of time a little bit, where I just feel that past eras are still real. Like I feel close to them and feel that they're still sort of present. So um, yeah, I just love the old music and the old medieval artworks, and I think everything I do is to some extent a sort of conversation with the past and a connection to past eras.
Yeah,
And
because
the Celtic music and Irish music is a little more new to me. Like I started getting into it about 10 years ago. And I before that I didn't really know like what a reel or a jig was or any of it, but it's been a great learning experience. And I've um, my connection to Irish music and Scottish music is mainly through learning the whistle, both the high whistles and the low whistles, and learning the melodies and sort of engaging with the melodies directly. And the whistles were really the first melodic instrument that I took up, and I'm continuing with it. And it's in most of my tracks. I mean, pretty much all of my tracks for the past several years have had the whistles as the lead melody, and I play that myself. I'll show you one here.
mm, oh
This is one of
wow.
them. Yeah, this is a low D, and there's
So almost for those that are listening on Spotify, it's almost like a big long recorder, isn't it? It's almost like a recorder.
Yeah, yeah, the fingering system is different from their quarter, but it's similar in
Mm-hmm.
its you blow it through the end, and it's not like a flute where you blow it from the side.
Yeah.
Although the style of the Irish low whistle is has a lot of connections with the traditional Irish flute, and
Right.
that's it's not the flute that you see in classical music with a lot of keys on it. It's pretty much just a six-hole instrument, and the fingerings are exactly the same as the low whistle. So
Mm.
there's a connection. There's a big tradition in Irish music, like the styles of music and the scales that they play in are all really tuned into the whistle. So it's one of the principal instruments, along with the violin, the fiddle, and a few others.
Yeah, I know. I love all of it. My granddad was Irish, so we I feel quite connected to that kind of vibe, you know. And but often if I hear like those kind of flutes and things, um, that I feel transported to another time. Like you were just explaining about, you feel like the other times are closer and you feel really connected to them. I've always felt like that as well. It's almost like I drift between souls within my soul. Does that make sense? It's like
Yes.
it's not just this
Yeah.
time, like I can easily kind of connect into times of past. And I think that's probably why I enjoy your music so much. It just, you know, activates that always. Um, but in a real, but it also combines those kind of modern beats and electronica, you know, that I love as well from this lifetime.
Yeah.
You
Well, that
know,
was one of the things that drew me to both the whistle and the frame drum, which I've also specialized in for many years now, is that they are two of the oldest documented instruments. Like I think the earliest musical instrument ever found in archaeology is the remains of a bone flute, and it's from, I forget where exactly what the date is, but it's from prehistoric times, and
wow.
they recovered a piece of bone with holes in it that were clearly carved into the bone as a flute or a whistle. And so
Mm,
it's just a very old sound. And then my other instrument, the frame drum and the tambourine, which are both types of frame drums, is also one of the oldest drums. I think it's pretty much the oldest drum that you have any like archaeological record or evidence of. And so something about the primal sound of both of those instruments really keeps me coming
yeah,
back to them. Like I come
yeah.
from, I've tried a lot of different instruments, like both in percussion and melodic instruments. Like I play some keyboards, and I used to play doumbek, like Arabic tabla, and before that I played drum set. But somehow these two, like the low whistles and the frame drums, these two types of instruments are really the ones that drew me in. So
Mm.
I think like going forward, those are going to continue to be the principal instruments
Yeah,
in my
you can always
sound.
recognize when it's your music because you can hear those in there, you know?
Yeah, the frame drums and the
It's
um
it's like your signature sound.
yeah, I mean I to some extent I've been encouraged to move into frame drums and also take up hybrid tambourines because there are so few people playing them, and it's just it's an area of the percussion world which is really interesting to me, and a lot of things are still kind of being explored and revived. Like in the 20th century, there was a revival of frame drumming spearheaded by Glenn Velez, and a lot of my technique and the way I learned to play comes from drummers like Glenn Velez and David Cookerman, who expanded on his technique. And there's kind of an interesting mixture of frame drumming styles and techniques that come from all over Europe and the Mediterranean world, and then to some extent from Persia and India as well. So it's an interesting kind of field of percussion to be into. It's kind of like where uh there's no absolute like rules or a really established way of playing tambourines and frame drums, and a lot of the drummers they develop a lot of like interesting individual styles and fusions of different cultures on their own.
Mm. How did you get into producing in the first place, into music?
Well, I come from playing drums with dance troupes, and at first it was kind of modern dance and circus arts like fire and aerials and all kinds of stuff. And I was just a drummer in these groups, and the style was like I played big drum sets with sticks and mallets and stuff. The style was a little more like heavy, kind of tribal, kind of experimental fusion. And if you've heard of the Burning Man Festival in
Yes.
Nevada in the US, we went to Burning Man many times and we did all these
Wow,
crazy kind of Burning Man type of things. And we did theater
amazing.
shows in San Francisco. But I eventually just wanted to produce my own music, and as many drummers feel like they kind of get dissatisfied of just being the drummer of a band or the group, and I wanted to just produce my own music. And so I just started to take up electronic music and start to create my own styles and beats and sounds on them. It took me a fairly long time. It was kind of a learning curve. It took me a long time before I really got to the point of doing finished tracks. And that happened about 20 years ago. Like my first tracks that are out on all the platforms are from 2005. And those were done in conjunction with the last dance troupe I played in, and which was like more of a belly dance and burlesque oriented troupe called the Nikaya. And that came to an end after a couple more years, but I just kept on producing music as a solo artist, as Drumspyder, and so I've continued on ever since. And so I've been putting out my own tracks as a Drumspyder for about 20 years now.
Mm. So here in the UK, your music is really popular amongst the sort of conscious dance and ecstatic dance movements. Is it the
Uh-huh.
same for you in America? Is it the same kind of crowd?
That's good to hear. I have played a lot of ecstatic dance and related events here in the US and in Canada. Um, there's a lot that I relate to in the ecstatic dance scene. I mean, I there's so many good things about the atmosphere and the attitude towards is really focused on dance and to some extent just going into an altered state and going into that ecstatic state on the basis of the music alone rather than drugs and other things.
Well,
And
it was
so
always the music. We just thought it was the drugs.
yeah, it's about the
It was
music.
always the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. I'm
I
to
think the
some
drugs
extent
helped us
though,
learn how to listen to the music, how to embody the music. And I think once you learn how to do that, you never forget, you know. But I think that almost like the 90s scene kind of happened and it kind of it really helped us hear music differently, where we kind of heard it from ourselves, you know, where our bodies connected to each sound. And I know that I've never forgotten how to do that. Like every time I hear music, my body just starts different, and different parts of my
yeah,
body move to different sounds, um, in the way that ecstasy taught me how to.
yeah,
You know, but I don't need that now
yeah.
because I know how to do that. Mm.
Yeah, to some extent I've always like even from way back in my dance troupe days, I was always interested in like the trance-inducing qualities of drumming and
Yeah.
rhythm, and I've done drumming for rituals of various sorts, and I think in my personal practice, it's really based on I just go into trance rhythms for myself, really. Like it's part of like my meditative or devotional practice as a pagan. It's mostly involves the drum, involves the frame drum, just kind of trancing out,
Yeah.
for my own personal rituals. And I
Mm.
try to bring that quality into my music. it's always been to some extent very like rhythm and drum based. And I find a lot of resonance in like both trance electronica and traditional music in that quality. Like even the European music and the Celtic music has a little bit of a kind of rhythmic, there's qualities of rhythm and repetition that are a
Mm.
little bit like trance electronica. So I find it very natural. I don't feel like I'm jamming two completely different styles together. I find it kind of natural to integrate those
Yeah, they
things like
work
the
really well.
electronic and traditional.
Yeah, because the drums and that kind of trance, but they're mixed with the fun of the other sounds, because like for instance, that scene from Titanic where they're downstairs dancing to the Irish music, and it's just so fun, isn't it? As soon as people hear that, they want to sort of start dancing where they link arms, and go round and round and that kind of thing. It kind of
Yeah,
induces this, like, let's have fun, like everyone starts dancing like they're Irish dancers and spinning around, and it's really joyful. But so you've got the
yeah.
balance of the joyfulness with the tranciness, and it does work. It works really nice together.
Yeah, in my own music, it was an interesting switch for me, just kind of speaking of like the more happy and upbeat, like Irish dance music.
Mm,
It was an interesting switch for me when I first started doing like the really happy, like upbeat tunes, like the upbeat reels and jigs and things in major keys. Because before
mm,
that, like in my belly dance and Arabic fusion years, my music was a lot more just sort of kind of sultry and slinky and oriented
mm,
towards kind of a combination of like slower ecstatic dance plus like belly dance performance, of course, and burlesque
yeah.
performance and things like that. So when I first played, happy like jigs and reels, like I didn't know what people would
Like for a
think. And
Ceilidh, the
yeah,
old
like
fashioned Ceilidh dance.
yeah, I was wondering, are people just gonna like, stare at me and blankly and not know what to think? But people love it, and I think it's been a great element to have in my set, and I found that
Mm,
people in the U.S. really respond well to the. I think people need some happy music and need some more upbeat tunes, but
mm,
I like to. I like to explore the full range of moods and music, and I've been working sort of on the dark side lately. I've got a little more sort of gothic and darker tunes in the works now. And I think one of the things that really hooked me on the traditional music, like the folk repertoire and the medieval and Renaissance repertoire, is this full range of moods and human experience that the music encompasses. Like in folk music, there are happy tunes, there are sad, mournful tunes, there are, comical songs, there's body songs, they're just like
mm.
everything. And like one of the things I love about it, and I want to try to do my best to incorporate and capture that full range of experience and moods
Mm.
in my music. So I love all of it. I mean, I love like the really gloomy, like folk songs, like Three Ravens, and I love the happy, upbeat
Yeah.
jigs as well.
But that's why it works so well as medicine music, though, isn't it? Because it's going to activate whatever those feelings are inducing to help people then release those stored energies in their body. So when they're dancing to your music and it suddenly gets a bit moody, then
Yeah,
that's going to evoke some old feeling that they're holding on to. So they might have a little cry, which is a really good release when you're consciously dancing, is to allow these feelings to come through. So to have the full spectrum of the moods and the emotions in your music, it can be used in conscious dances and things as the best medicine. So that's
yeah,
really
yes.
cool.
Yeah, so coming to Elevate, I'm gonna definitely have kind of a full range set
Mm,
and kind of take you through all kinds of moods and rhythms. And I also like to work at a very wide tempo range. This is one thing that um, I find a lot of synergy within the ecstatic dance scene is that there's kind of a journey through like ambience and slow tempos up to the really high
Mhm.
energy stuff and then back down and back
Yeah.
up again. So that's the kind of set that I'm going to be bringing.
Oh, amazing. I actually can't wait. It's going to be so fun. And also you've got a dancer, haven't you, as well? There's going to be dancers and it's going to be really atmospheric.
Uh, I have made contact with a dancer who's going to be coming. I don't think my friend from the US.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she's going to make it here. She's going to be in the area,
Okay.
but don't know if the schedules are going to align yet. So I
You're
can't
going
really
to
promise
align.
anything.
Okay.
But I have been working with a wonderful dancer here on the West Coast.
Mhm.
Goes by Astrid Rose on Instagram. You can find her there. And we have a video in the works for my latest single, Morning Star. And so
Oh,
she's a wonderful dancer. I hope maybe it'll work out to have her there, but I'm not quite sure about
wow.
that.
Yeah. But we've also got one of our tribe is making a costume and everything, and she's been learning certain dances that she can that go well with your
That's
music
great.
as well. So yeah, she's really excited, bless her. So
I look forward to that.
yeah, yeah. And so, what's your plans? When are you coming over to the UK? Where is it you actually live?
California, Berkeley.
California.
It's in the Bay Area near San Francisco.
Mm.
And so I'm coming uh, over towards the UK for about a month. I have one gig in Philadelphia on the way, and it's for like Lunasaw or Llamas, like that time on the wheel of the year,
Oh, brilliant.
early August. And then a little later that week, I'll be coming over, going to London, and then I have a plan of there's that Elevate weekend, and then going over to Ireland for
Mm.
about 10 days, and then coming back. I'm taking the ferry back and forth, and then
Yeah,
and there's going to be a Soul Fest towards the end of August,
yeah,
and a little more traveling in England. So
yeah.
this is the fourth summer of which I've come over, and
Oh,
it's always been
okay.
a really great experience. It's sort of a
Mm.
combination of playing some festivals and then just being a tourist, which I love to do. I love to
Yeah,
see all
especially
the,
like connecting in with the lands of
yeah,
where the music that you're so involved in comes from, and
yeah.
hearing traditional sounds as well. So yeah, that would be great. Just absorbing more for your repertoire.
Yeah, I've had a great time seeing the traditional music in
Mm,
Ireland, just like going to the
yeah,
pubs. I'm going back to Galway this year and a couple other places where I've already kind of gotten some familiar with the pubs that have great traditional music and sessions going on, and so
yeah,
looking
great
forward to it.
energy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The Irish know how to party.
yeah.
I can say that because my whole family's Irish. So
All right, yeah,
they all like a drink and they all like to dance. And yeah, amazing, amazing.
yeah. It's
Sorry.
Oh, I mean, it's just great to see that it has such a living like folk music culture, whereas I think in a lot of places there's been such a displacement of folk music and culture from like the media and
Mm,
recorded music and everything. But
yeah.
yeah, in Ireland, and I'm sure all over the place to
Oh
some
yeah. I mean,
extent, but in Ireland it's just really
I've
strong.
yeah, I've always mingled in alternative music scenes, and there is a lot of folk music in, in
Yeah,
festival scenes and different things. So it's there underground, but it's just not where it
yeah.
should be in the limelight, but it is happening, and there's lots of bands with fiddles and stuff, but it's much more, underground.
Yeah, I mean, generally I love it. I mean, I come from the culture of indie music, roughly speaking, on the West Coast, and I love it when that kind of energy is happening. Like when I first started playing drums, like in Portland, it was totally like an indie music culture where everyone had their own band and there was these tiny little clubs and you just
Yeah.
go there and play. And I love it when that is happening. So like my whole background in music comes from comes from that kind of independent music culture rather than
Mm,
from like trying to like get signed by a label and make it. So,
mm.
and in my early dance troupe days, it was the same thing. It was very much like grassroots, and we had our own little like theater space in San Francisco for a while and ran our own shows there and
Oh, fab.
did things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great though, isn't it? It's great to hear all your different, where your music has kind of grown from, because I wouldn't listen to your music now and think that you had an indie background. I would have thought it was
Yeah.
more kind of electronic, but
Yeah. Um, I really don't come from electronic music. That's one thing that's really been a characteristic of my whole musical journey is that it's really based on playing the drums, and now it's the
mm,
essential basis of my current music is sort of drums and the whistle and integrating with the traditional music. But
yeah.
I've never been a DJ in the proper sense of spinning records,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really like I wasn't like a raver or anything. I didn't come from
Mm,
that. Like the electronic world has always been a little bit of a different culture that I've done my best to integrate into, and there's certain things I like about it and then certain things that I did never
don't,
related
yeah.
to. But like
Yeah.
I still think of myself mainly just as a musician who uses the electronic music and the beats as a medium, but
Mm.
I'm not a native to DJing and raves
I
and
think maybe
club
that's why your
culture.
music is so unique though, because in that sense it's definitely your own signature music, because you're not being guided by a certain way. It's just all your different influences coming together to create this, isn't it? It's not it's quite unique in that sense.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I always have done my best to make sure that the music has its own kind of integrity. Like as I said before, I don't want to like be trying to jam different styles together in this sort of like collision, postmodern collision sort of way. Like I don't want it to be like this kind of like, well, here's an Irish reel plus drum and bass or plus house music or plus disco. It's like I want I want it to have kind of an integration and not like the feel like it's being I guess I want it to be guided primarily by the drumming and the traditional music and then
Mm,
use whatever electronic sounds of beats and bass fit into that. And I don't want
yeah.
to be sort of driven by the desire to produce an electronic genre track like a drum
Yeah.
and bass track or a house track.
Mm,
So I think that's what I've always done. And in a way, I've always, even since way back in my Arabic fusion days, I've kind of pursued a similar kind of folktronica approach and a basis in traditional music. And I've wanted to be like that to be the primary driver of the music. Like even back in my Arabic fusion days years ago, I would always love to remix the traditional tunes. And I worked for a label for a while that does belly dance music, and they would send me like these traditional Arabic ensemble recordings, and I would remix them into tracks for belly dancers, and that was a great
mm,
experience. It was is great to learn, sort of get hands-on with these authentic recordings from traditional Arabic musicians and work with them instead of just trying to grab a sample, somewhere or try to fake it, myself.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I really like that process. And I'm still, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm such a beginner with Celtic music. And there's just so much to learn. Like when you really look into traditional music, it just seems like there's this bottomless ocean there of things. And you're
Mm,
never going to get to the end of like the traditional tunes or the skills that are involved in traditional music. So that's
mm.
something I've great respect for.
Yeah, but it's a great journey, isn't it? And it's just something really fun to explore, and especially if you're going over to Ireland as well and hanging out with traditional musicians, and you'll get to learn more. It's a really interesting hobby, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be great to just combine the educational with a bit of tourism and hanging out
Mm.
in pubs and stuff. So looking forward to this trip a lot.
Yeah, and the history and everything else, and why they were so upbeat with the music, because actually life was quite depressing.
Yeah.
They say
Yeah,
that.
well, I love to learn about history and look at historical sites and also um, look into the background of some of the music, like the historical events behind certain songs. I've delved
Yeah.
into some good books about that and how like certain Irish songs are about certain rebellions that happened over time and the history
Mm.
behind them. It's one of the things I really enjoy doing and like
Yeah, it will
getting some
put you
good
off the
history.
English, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
Every
love
time,
English
every
music
time we
though,
look at history, it puts you off the English.
perhaps. But at least, I really love English music though, and the English Renaissance is one of my favorite periods of music. I listen to so much music from that time, like Dowland and Tallis and Bird and all those composers. And I've done like quite a bit of my repertoire in my tracks is sort of old English stuff, both folk and Renaissance. So it's a
Mm.
bit of a misnomer to say do Celtic folktronica is it's one of those labels that fits to some extent, but not
I love the
exactly
word
because
folktronica. It's such
yeah,
a cool word.
yeah. I mean, I've noticed more people using it
Right.
lately, so I think there might be some kind of
Becoming a
vibe in there.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But there was a time when there were like genres of music, wasn't there? But then, over the sort of past sort of couple of decades, there has been more of a fusion of mixing different genres and kind of, you know, doing that. And I think it really, really works, and it makes it really unique, and to do that and experimental, and it's really exciting for the listener and the dancer as well, when there's these combinations of genres, like you're doing, but in other ways as well. Where they always used to use lots of classical music in dance tunes, and things like that. So yeah, it is exciting, but yeah, making up these new words for the combinations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always, I mean, I think my music, along with a lot of other producers, is pretty hard to define, and there is an exciting mix of styles and fusions going on. Like, I think ever since I started, I've been in that sort of undefinable fusion zone. Like, I never played in an established dance music genre.
Mm,
And a lot of other producers I know are like, especially from like the West Coast scene and bass music, are kind of they're also kind of native to that zone where it's a little bit more free form and they might um, they produce their own music and they might play an instrument along with that, like a live instrument like a violin or a flute or
hmm.
saxophone or something. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like the scene that I come from was just um, it's been somewhat free form, indefinable fusion like ever since I started.
Yeah, that's great. Is there a really good music scene around you then? I'm guessing so.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Um, I'm not in any particular like scene. I'm sort of in a stage where I'm just kind of finding different gigs as the opportunities come up, and I'm experimenting a little bit to reach out to different groups of people. Like I've done things that were connection to pagan rituals here
Mm.
in the US, and I also have a date or two coming up that's a little more connected with the goth scene. I have a gig in Portland coming up at a goth club and sort of trying that out and just kind of exploring different things. And then sometimes it's related to the ecstatic dance scenes too, and I play a fair
Yeah,
number of gigs
yeah. Your
coming
music
up.
works so well in those environments.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of just trying out different things and not too closely tied with one group or one audience, but It's been an interesting time. Ever since I've started doing Celtic music, it's been an interesting time of finding and intersecting with different groups of people and different
Mm.
audiences.
I really wanted to sort out a gig with you while you were here at Wardle Castle, near us. It's an old medieval castle, and they haven't responded to me. I remember I said to you a while ago, and then I haven't chased it up because I've been so busy consumed in the festival stuff. But I could picture it. It would be amazing. It's this amazing old
Yeah.
medieval castle that's still quite together. You know, you can go up the stairs and different things, and they've got a big lake, and it's just gorgeous. But you never know. We might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, well, I hope we do. I mean, perhaps next year.
Yeah, maybe
And
next
that
year
sounds
we could
great.
organize it. Yeah,
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 they might recognize some of the tunes that I'm playing.
yeah.
That is the ghosts in the castle
Waking
might.
up the ghosts.
Yeah. Because
Be
I do.
amazing,
I've
wouldn't
got
it?
some old medieval English stuff. I'm playing, it definitely in my set because I just have to play it. Coming to
Mm.
England to play it is going to be a medieval tune called "Merry It Is While Summer Lasts." "Merry It Is While Summer Lasts," and that's the oldest notated song in English, or the oldest secular song in English.
Oh
So
wow.
I'll be doing that one, and that's really from the 1200s back in the days of castles. So I
Oh,
hope we can do it
amazing.
later. We'll do
Yeah.
the castle next year, maybe.
Yeah. And then the site that we're on, there's a little pathway, and you can actually walk directly to Stonehenge as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So that's cool. I don't know if you visited there before, but yeah, it's not
I
far
have been
from
to
where we're.
Stonehenge once, a long time ago.
Hmm. I was trying to wangle
Yeah.
something with them as well, but they haven't responded, so I need to chase them up.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, listen, it's been so great talking to you. Where can people find you?
Well, my website is drumspyder.com, and that's Drumspyder spelled with a Y instead of an I in spider.
Yeah.
And that'll like link you to pretty much everywhere. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Drumspyder, same spelling. And
Mhm.
my music is on all the major platforms like Apple Music and Spotify and everything else. So I'm
Mm.
pretty easy to find. And also check out my new Instagram page, Dark Elven Designs, and that has my artwork
Yeah, which is
and
just
designs.
amazing. I've got to say, it's so cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've done all my album covers for a long time now, like all my
Right. Okay. And
independent
they're
album
they're all
covers.
amazing. Yeah.
And there are some t-shirts and things on my website, and I will have more products coming soon, like cards and posters and tapestries. I'm in the process
Mm.
of getting those ready, but stay tuned. It'll all be on my website if you want to check it out.
Mm. Oh, well, well done you. You're such a creative soul, and you're just doing amazing things out there. So I'm just really happy that you're coming to join us at Elevate. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, and you. Lots of love.